To UTL Testing Center, South China. He was located in Shanghai town, Dongguan, which is its most important train station node between Hong Kong, Guangzhou, and nearby Dongguan or Pearl River Delta regions. We have two levels here. Here's level 1 for administration, customer service, and physical test area. And level 2 is our chemical test area. So let me introduce our spatial design operation of UTL to you to explain what we're talking about: transparency, efficiency, and scientific management principle. We have two contents from here. It is made use as a training workshop for our customer and our staff. In the last 3 months, we have performed 3 training sessions for our customer for GMP, towards safety standard, and ISO standard on quality control. Here is our major office area for business information technology, and at that side is our separated customer service center, who is handling the inquiry, application, and even the report for all application. Except the office area, we have the physical test room at these levels. We have 3 physical test rooms and 1 condition room. The condition room is mainly used for the purposes of sample preconditioning and for some tests which is performing in the control environment. 26 degrees of Celsius with the working humidity of 50%. So let's take a look to the physical room. We have 3 physical rooms here, some with a glass panel, fully transparent. This room is made use for the toy test for European standard, China standard, Japan standard, United standard, even Canadian standard, inclusive. Another room is made use for some toy, but focusing on the battery operated or another functional and durability test. And the next room is used for the GB, the China mandatory standard on packaging and printing. So after that, I will show you level 2, our chemical testing division area, and let you know our core running for UTL service. I hope that you will experience the two and identify our principle of transparency, scientific method, and efficiency in our management and operation principle. Here is our level 2 operation center of UTL at Dongguan. Here is the 8th floor of new power center. What we're doing here is for chemical tests, including the material analysis. Here is our staff lobby. You can see that there's a lot of the staff locker here. What we provide such locker to our staff. First, giving them a space for their personal stuff. The second, make sure they keep their mobile phone in the locker to secure our client's product integrity and property right, especially for some licensed product related to the movie or special TV program. You can see that here we have monitored by the CCTV. Make sure that he is under control. Okay, let us move in and see what they're doing here. Okay, here is a chemical test area. So you can see that UTL is emphasized on transparency, efficiency, and scientific testing manner. The design of this testing room is using a lot of glass material to provide a great spatial feeling to the staff. At the same time, what we can doing here can see the same time. And the central place is our instrumental analytical room. And you can see there is a lot of people working here is for sample preparation. The whole area is supervised and managed by our general manager and technical director, Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong is here. So, how are you, Mr. Wong, today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay. Could you tell me that what we're doing here?
Okay, our laboratory staff are doing chemical tests.
Okay. So, what this gentleman is doing now?
Yes, may I introduce the chemical test of toys. In general, there are three common chemical tests. One is total lead, second is soluble heavy metal, and the third is ceramics. Because all are the toxic element, so it must be controlled, and any country keep a strict control of it.
I think a lot of audience is interested to know more about how to perform the test, because a lot of people think about that. The testing laboratory is very confidential, mighty, and say is a very secret area. A lot of people do not have opportunity to take a look to the testing laboratory, or sometimes they may be rejected by some laboratory to have the visit. So, what we feel about the transparency operation here, and could you also tell us or introduce us how do you perform the test for the toys?
Okay, thanks. In fact, it is not secret, it is scientific. Generally, I can summarize. There are three different stages of chemical tests. The first is sample pretreatment, like scraping the painting on the surface of the sample. The second is cutting the sample into smallest pieces. The second stage is sample treatment, like acid detection or sample extraction. The third stage is sample analysis, and it is the most important step. We are using modern instruments to measure the content of it. For heavy metal, we use ICP or AS. For organic substances, we use GCMS or HPLC.
So I think our audience is interested to know the operation for this testing center. So let Mr. Wong to show the operation and the instrument be here. Okay, Mr. Wong, you have shown us that UTL Chemical Lab are facilitated with the launch of the instrument. So that, could you tell us something about those facilities installed here? What is that? And what is that?
Yeah. This one is called HPLC. The usage of it is to analyze organic substances like bisphenol A, or many pharmaceutical companies use HPLC to analyze the organic material inside. Also, there are lots of Chinese medicinal manufacturers. They have HPLC to analyze the active ingredient in herbal drugs.
So how about this instrument? It's like a small and looks like a computer or right? What is that?
It's more than a computer. It is in fact called UV visible spectrometer. And in consumer product, they are always contaminated with some toxic substances like formaldehyde. And this one is very useful to measure the formaldehyde content inside.
I understand that UV visible is also utilized for chromium-6 analysis. Is it right?
Yes, because in the fabric industry, they sometimes use the chromium-6 to process. So everyone knows chromium-6 is very toxic element, and this instrument can also use to analyze chromium-6 content.
We can see that there's another two instrument room next to this one. Could you show us another room to our clients and audience?
Okay, sure.
Okay, let us go. Okay, Mr. Wong, here is instrument room 2. I see that the instrument is a little bit bigger than the former one. Could you tell us something about the instrument install it here. Here's the usage. Okay.
This is called ICP, and this is a very, very important and useful instrument for analyzing heavy metals, organic substances.
Okay. For this instrument, I learned that it is quite efficient. How efficient it is?
Yeah, efficiency is very important in lab operation because we have a lot of samples every day, and we have to commit the test in a very short period of time. And this is very efficient ICP because the capacity for each day is 1,000 and 100 samples. So you can imagine even over 1,000 samples coming into our lab, we have the capacity to analyze.
Okay. So how many substances can it be detached at the same time?
The ICP is very famous for detecting multiple elements. In the chemical periodic table, there are over 100 of elements, and only few of them, except few of them, every element can use this instrument to analyze.
Okay. On the other hand, that means it can detect almost the organic substance with a very high speed detection at the same time. So that's why we can provide sometimes one day service, same day service to our customer.
Okay.
I can see here is also a Q instrument located here. And what is that? Can you tell something more about this Q instrument to our customer?
This is called AAS, Atomic Absorption Spectrometer. The same thing, this one is used to analyze elements. But it can only analyze one element for each time. So this is the major difference between ICP and AAS. But of course, this one is relatively cheaper than ICP, and also it is very sensitive for some elements like arsenic and like mercury.
Okay. On the other hand, I learned that use AAS to test lead, mercury, and other very what you call toxic heavy elements, especially the total content. This is related to the mandatory requirement of the U.S. or Canada. Am I right?
Yeah, it's true. In fact, lead is a very toxic element. It's very harmful to human health. So many countries take serious control of total lead. And this one is very sensitive to detect the presence of total lead.
So what is the usage of this
This tiny instrument is called mercury analyzer. So from its name you can guess this instrument is for analyzing mercury. And the good thing is it is very sensitive, and particularly it is dedicated for analyzing mercury. And everyone knows mercury is one of the most toxic elements on Earth.
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Wong. Let us see another instrument at the room behind. Mr. Wong, we have already taken a look to the two instrument room. Could you tell us and our customers something about working here? Especially you can see that the instrument is different than the other one. What is the usage of such instrument?
Okay. Here we come to the GCMS room, and you can see this instrument is called GCMS. There are many organic methods use GCMS to analyze. For example, phthalates. For example, azo dyes.
Okay. It is automatic manual or manually work?
Yes. This instrument is automatic. Here we have the automatic arms. We can analyze the sample on a 24-hour basis. Once the laboratory staff set up the program, the instrument can perform the analysis automatically. So we have a very higher capacity for organic substances measurement.
I understand that there is two GCMS, but at the same time they have another accessories like ECD or FID, so that except some liquid form or solid form sample, I can see that this instrument can also handle some substance like VOC or other substance including the rich SHC. It is right?
Yes. In GCMS, we have coupled with different detector like ECD or FID or even space. Various detector to use to analyze different substances. So this is a very powerful and very versatile application of GC.
On the other hand, can we say that maybe more than 50% known common used organic substance in the world market could be handled by such instrument?
We all know there are thousands of organic methods, and we have the GCMS. We can analyze majority of organic methods, and the other majority which HPLC.
Okay, that shows that we can provide a more comprehensive service to our customer.
Yes.
Okay, you can see that behind is our workstation, which we've seen before. It is also the point so that in UTL Laboratory, we emphasize on transparency. Everyone keep their work properly and don't mind be under the supervision, or they have a very good self-discipline to provide and perform their work every day. Here is our another physical testing room, except the back room behind. It is very useful area for our testing task performing the flammability and other tests related to the textile and apparel. All the equipment here is in line with the mandated standard of EU, US, Canada, and even China. Here is mentioned by our technical physical team. Okay, Mr. Wong, we have discussed before that extraction and digestion is a very important procedure of the testing operation. So that could you let us know something about the facility here when you're performing the digestion and extraction work?
Okay. First, I want to say about the acid digestion first. In elemental analysis, there is a very important step called acid digestion. In acid digestion, we have two kinds of instruments or equipment. The first one is microwave digester, and here is a very state-of-art microwave digester. It is imported from US, and the good thing is we can put the sample inside and let it perform the digestion automatically. And another good thing is only a very trace amount of sample is needed, and there is no loss of sample, so the accuracy will be very, very high. The other equipment used for acid digestion is hot plate. The good thing is At the same time, we can do 54 samples. So we have this capacity to cope with the very demanding heavy metal test in our daily laboratory operation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Wang. Let us go to another one. Mr. Wang, we have another kind of digestion and extraction work to do in the course of testing. Could you show me the instrument here, which looks different than what we said before?
Yes. This room is dedicated for organic solvent extraction. Sample will be extracted by organic solvent, and we need to concentrate the solvent using this instrument called ultra-red evaporator. And beside, we have other equipment used for organic extraction, like ultrasonicator or solvent extractor, etc. And all these help us to analyze the organic matter inside the samples.
I know that there is the room for nickel release.
Yeah.
Could you show me the nickel release?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wang, we have discussed about the nickel release. Could you show me something about nickel release test here?
Okay. Here is the instrument for nickel release. In nickel release, there's two major processes. The first process is called varying process, and what we see, this is the varying machine. The machine will rotate continuously for 5 hours to varying the coating of the metal parts. Then the second process is called the extraction process, where the sample will put inside the solvent for 1 week. And after 1 week, we'll take it out and use the instrument to detect the presence of nickel.
谢谢黄总. Thank you very much, Mr. Wang.
You're welcome.
Today we have taken a look to the chemical division of the UTL South China Operations Center. Totally, we have the 3 instrument room and 4 extraction and digestion room, plus another facility. We can provide a full range chemical testing service to our customer. Plus, the space is enough for us to expand our capacity to double or more. So, I hope that UTL can provide a service to suit the need with scientific method, efficiency, and transparency with a very reasonable and competitive cost.